Okay, today we are going to continue with intercept form. We are going to be graphing and describing. Now, this should go a lot faster and be a little bit easier than when we were doing standard form because you've already done all this for standard form. So this is kind of just a review. And the items that we have to describe don't really change just because it's in a different form of the equation. Okay, so again, we're going to be using desmos graphing. So you'll be typing the equations in and then using desmos to help you find all of the points that you need in order to describe your functions. So let's get started. Okay, let's make this just a little bit bigger. All right, so 1/2 times x minus 2 times x plus 4. And we're just going to type it in exactly the way we have it. And on the desmos graphing, you do not have to put the fraction button. In fact, there isn't a fraction button. You just do the division. So y equals, you just do 1 divided by 2, and then use the right arrow to get out of the fraction. And then the rest of it is going to be x minus 2 and x plus 4. Make sure you're using the parentheses. Okay, and then when you're done typing it in, just make the keyboard go away so you can actually look at all your points. Okay, so we have our x-intercepts sitting on the x-axis. We have our midpoint, which is our vertex, halfway between them. And then we have our y-intercept. All right, so let's go ahead and start describing the function. Okay, so as we saw, the x-intercepts Okay, so the x-intercepts are 2, 0 and -4, 0. The y-intercept was 0, -4, I think. Let's make sure. Yep, 0, -4. Okay, and then the vertex is -1, -4.5. Okay, so -1, -4.5. Okay, so remember the rule that max or min, if the vertex is the lowest point on the y, lowest y value on the graph, then it's a minimum. And if it's the highest one, it's a max. So in this case, this is a minimum. All right, our axis of symmetry, remember, is the line that goes through the x of the vertex. So x equals -1. We could actually draw that and see the symmetry. The domain has not changed. We are still dealing with everything from the left to the right of the x-axis, so from negative to positive infinity. And the range, again, is based on the vertex. That is the lowest point on the graph. We already said that was a minimum. So our graph starts at -4.5. And since it goes up from there, it goes to positive infinity on the y-axis. Okay, so the intervals, same as it was in standard form. We're always going to start on the left-hand side. And if we draw our little person, riding in the roller coaster, coming from the left, they are going down. So they are decreasing, starting at negative infinity. And they're going to stop decreasing when they get to the bottom of that hill. Well, the bottom of that hill, since we're looking at the x value for that, is the vertex, and it's -1. Okay, so that means it then has to be increasing from -1 to positive infinity. All right, so let's try a -1. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and type that in. So -2 times x minus 3 times x plus 1. Okay, and again, remember, you can just blank out the equation so you don't have to see it. And then we're going to type it in. So y equals -2 times x minus 3 and x plus 1. X minus 3 and x plus 1. Okay, so we've got it. And again, I can't see the vertex, but I don't want to make my graph get really huge because I kind of like the fact that I can see my x-intercepts right there. So I'm just going to drag it down a little bit until I can see all the pieces that I want. So I want my x-intercepts, my y-intercept, and my vertex. so that I can pick out all the pieces that I need in order to actually be able to answer the question. All right. So the y-intercept is 0, 6. All right. And the x-intercepts are 3, 0, and -1, 0. And in case you were wondering, the order that you write these in doesn't matter. It does obviously have to be like the y equaling 0, but you could put the -1, 0 first, and it really doesn't make a difference. Okay, so the vertex was 1, 8. And if we take a look at our graph, it is the highest point of the graph, so it is a maximum. And again, our axis is symmetry, always based on the x of the vertex. Now, obviously, we couldn't use negative b over 2a like we did in standard form. But remember, if I want to find my vertex, I find the midpoint between my two x-intercepts. And that is the same as your axis of symmetry because that is the x value that you're going to substitute in to get your vertex. All right, so the domain, again, has not changed. The range. Okay, so this graph is going down. So that makes, as we stated, that makes 8 the highest point. So the way we write the range, again, because we put the smallest number first, this graph is going from -infinity to +8. Okay, so time for the intervals. Now, again, just put your little person on the car if you need to remember which way are they going on either side. So coming from the left, right, that's -infinity, the car is going up. So that is increasing from -infinity till it gets to the vertex, which is 1. And then it's going to decrease from 1 to +infinity. And I know that sounds weird to decrease to something that's positive, but because we're going across from left to right, like reading, that's how that works, is that this graph is going to keep going down forever. So as it's going to the right, it's just going to keep going down and down and down and down and down. Okay, so that's it as far as describing, and I will see you next time.